Hello and welcome, dear students, in a new lesson. As you can see, today we are going to study a new lesson which is comparative adjectives. I'm sure you have an idea what adjectives are, but let me just give you some examples to make sure. Beautiful is an adjective. Nice is an adjective. Interesting is an adjective. Adjective is a word that we use to describe a person or an object or anything. But today we're going to see how we use adjectives to compare between people or objects or things. This lesson, as you can see, is in Unit 9, the world of money. This lesson is grammar. It's a grammar lesson. And if you remember, last week we studied the vocabulary of Unit 9 and grammar number 1. This is grammar number 2. Let's move on. So, as I said, comparative adjectives is using adjectives to compare between people, objects, or anything. Let me just give you a small demonstration. Here we have 4 lamps. Lamp A, lamp B, C, and D. And as you see, they're all different sizes and different heights. For example, lamp A is shorter than lamp B. So what I have just did is I compared between this lamp and this lamp in terms of their height. So this one is short, this one is tall. Okay, so I could say, for example, lamp A is shorter than lamp B, or lamp C is taller than lamp B. Or I could also say lamp C is taller than lamp D. Now, short and tall are adjectives, and I have just used them to compare between these lamps. Some of these lamps are tall and others are short. Okay, let's move on. Now, we're going to read some sentences and study them. I thought that Omar was young, but I discovered that he is older than me. Now, in this sentence here, from here to here, we have an adjective used in comparison. So, but I discovered that he is older than me. So we have he and me. So here, this is the subject and this is the object, and this is the adjective we use to compare between he and me. He is old adjective, but we have something else here. Older. Older than me. Okay, please remember this. Next we have I work in a new company that makes jam, and my new boss is nicer than the last one. My new boss is what? Is nicer. You see? My new boss is nicer than the last one. Here, I compared between my new boss and the last boss I had in terms of which one is nicer. Okay, so my new boss is nicer. Here we have older. Here we have nice, nicer. Let's move on. My business is now bigger than it used to be in the past. Okay, now the adjective we used here is big. It became bigger. Okay, my business is bigger than it used to be in the past. So we have older, nicer, and bigger. Did you notice that our manager is a little bit happier than yesterday? I think that technical jobs like engineering and architecture are a bit more interesting than managerial jobs nowadays. Now here we have something different. Okay, we have something different. Here we have older, nicer, bigger, happier, more interesting. Okay, now on the next slide we are going to see like the difference between this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So here we have a can I just delete everything I scratched? Okay, now here we have older than. Older than. The adjective is old. Old, older than. Next, nice, nice, nicer than. Big, bigger than. Happy, happier than. And more interesting, or interesting, more interesting than. I'm sorry, this is than, it's not that. Sorry, this is a mistake. It should not be that. It should be than. It's really difficult to write with a mouse, but this is it. Than, it's not that. Okay, so we have older than, nicer than, bigger than, happier than, more interesting than. Okay, now on the next slide we're going to see the structure or the rule of the adjectives. Now here, for example, I discovered that he is old. So in red, this is the adjective. Old, older, comparative adjective, and than. Okay, so here I compared between he and me in terms of age. So he is older than me. Next, I work in a company that makes jam, and my new boss is nicer than. Okay, so there is something different between this one and this one. Here we added er, but here we added just r. You see? So here we have er, and here just r. Why? Because here the last letter is D, and here the last letter is E. So we don't add here double E then R. No, we just add R. Older, nicer. Here we add ER, and here we add just R because we have a E. So if we have E at the end of the adjective, we just add a R. Next, my business is bigger than it used to be in the past. Now here we have something else. Here the adjective is big, but we added G-E-R. You see? We added another G, then ER. Another G, then ER. Okay, so this is also very important to remember and keep in mind. Did you notice that our manager is a little bit happier than yesterday? Now, happy is normally written here with Y. Happy with Y. So, if we have an adjective that ends with Y, we normally omit Y and we add a E or I, sorry, I. Okay, then ER. Okay, so if we have Y, we omit Y and we add I-E-R. The last sentence, okay, before I have to explain something. Here we have older, nicer, bigger, happier. So these adjectives are short, they're not very long. But look at this one. Interesting. It's very long. That's why we can't add er. We can't say interestinger. No. We add more. So if we have a long adjective, we don't add er, but we add more before the adjective. Okay, so we don't say interestinger, no, we say more interesting. Beautiful, more beautiful. Awkward, more awkward, etc. And as you notice here, we always have than here, and than here again. Okay, now let's go and see the forms or the rule of this lesson. Now here we have 5 rules that you have to remember. The first one is adjective plus er plus than. This is very easy. Ali is tall, adjective er than Jimmy. Ali is taller than Jimmy. Tall, adjective plus er plus than. Other examples: cool, cooler. Short, shorter. Okay, so we just add er plus than. Cooler than, shorter than. Number 2, adjective plus r. Just r, not er. Just r plus than. This cat is cute. This is the adjective cute. So because we have e here, we just add r. Then that's one. Other examples include large, we have e, larger. Wise, we have e, wiser, etc. Third rule, adjective plus double consonant plus er plus than. For example, the weather is hotter than yesterday. The adjective is hot with one T. But hot, we add another T plus er. So adjective plus consonant plus er. Other examples include hot, hotter. Sad, sadder. Big, bigger. You see here? Double G, double D, double T. Okay, please remember this. Next, adjective that ends with y. So adjectives plus y becomes I, then we add er, then we add than. For example, comedians are funnier than common people. Okay, comedians are funnier. Funny normally ends with y, but the y becomes I, and we add er plus than. Comedians are funny, funnier than common people. Examples include scary, scarier. Ugly, uglier. Skinny, skinnier. Okay, you see here? Y becomes I. Y becomes I. And the last one is more plus adjective plus than. We said that we use this only with long adjectives. Ambitious, beautiful, interesting, long adjectives. Example here, Najwa is more ambitious than James. Najwa is more ambitious than James. Other examples include beautiful, more beautiful. Peaceful, more peaceful. Careful, more careful. Good, let's move on. Now, here we have irregular comparatives. They don't have a rule, they are just a few. For example, good, we don't say gooder, no, we say better. Bad, worse, far, further, well, better. Okay? Good. We don't say gooder. No, we say better because it's irregular. It doesn't have a rule. You just have to. You have to what? What's this? You have to memorize them. You have to memorize them. And the last thing we have is a beautiful exercise. In this exercise, you will have to compare between the family members using the adjectives that I will give you. Now, the family members are Molly, Sally, Elizabeth, James, and Norman. Now, you're going to use these adjectives, which are short, tall, fat, old, beautiful, young, funny. Use a dictionary and figure out the meaning of these adjectives if you don't know what do they mean. Now, you're going to write 7 sentences because we have 7 adjectives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Now, for example, James, Norman. James is a tall, Norman is a short, which means Norman is shorter, we add er, shorter than James. Norman is shorter than James. And you do the rest sentences. And as usual, thank you so much for paying attention. Please do the exercise and send it to me via WhatsApp. And see you next time. Bye bye.